This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Wednesday, February 5th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay. I'm Tori. I looked in the mirror to do my mascara, and I have hurt myself. So if my neck looks weird, that's why.
Okay, well, you're
Get well soon, Tori. It's crazy.
You said I look like the girl from The Grunge.
Yeah, The Grudge.
The Grudge, okay. Here we go. Today is the final day of the impeachment trial of President Trump. This is a live look at the Senate, where later today they are expected to vote to acquit him on both charges from the House. Meantime, the president's approval rating has hit an all-time high for him, 49%, according to Gallup.
That's like what Long John Silver's is.
What's that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
That terrible fast food chain.
Good button on that one. Thanks, Al. It's an all-out war between President Trump and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi after the president refused to shake Nancy's outstretched hand. Here it is. Ooh. At the State of the Union, well, Nancy responded by ripping up Trump's speech. It was all caught on camera. Nancy did explain her actions afterwards. Let's take a look.
Why did you tear up the speech?
Because it was a manifesto of mistruths.
Well, this morning, the White House is responding, tweeting, Speaker Pelosi just ripped up one of our last surviving Tuskegee Airmen, their survival of a child born at 21 weeks and more. That's her legacy. Now, we are super honest with you guys here at DBL. We aren't here to fact check. Y'all can go to CNN. Y'all can go to wherever you want to fact check, right? What we are here is to discuss, was that a good move? Was that a bad move? And how people felt in our hearts about the speech. So I'm going to go right to my friend Lindsay, but I'm going to look and turn my chair and ask you what you thought.
I thought this whole thing was dramatic. I felt like I was watching Days of Our Lives. And it didn't start with the handshake. It really started with no one clapped when Trump came in that was on the Democratic side. Nobody clapped. So then Trump didn't shake her hand. So then she ripped up the paper. So then all the Democrats left the chamber before the president, which is not protocol. You're supposed to wait for the president to leave.
Correct.
So it was just a completely dramatic scene. You know, I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I wanted to see what the rebuttal would be. And so both of those kind of watching all the women who I know they were standing up there for suffrage wearing all white, but, you know, making all the noise in the chamber, it just really, a lot of the message was lost because of how much of a dramatic event it was.
But speak to me about the message, because you actually enjoyed the speech. Am I right?
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliantly done speech. I think it was a wake-up call for Democrats to say, listen, you don't have the black vote on lock. You absolutely don't. And I think that everybody should know that now, especially given that Biden thought he was the front runner and now he might not be. So we're sitting here and we're talking about the pettiness of it, but really he went directly after the black vote saying, I'm doubling down. I'm bringing on a Tuskegee Airman. I'm bringing his great-grandson. I'm talking about how I'm supporting HBCUs. Now, right, it was a juxtaposition with honoring Rush Limbaugh, who has done the most racist things we've heard of.
Yeah.
Right, but he also played into his base, right? He talked about Second Amendment. He talked about women's abortions. So he literally did all things for all people. So if you didn't like Trump and you hated him, you might have been swayed if you were a moderate.
Interesting. Now, I want to just say my opinion on the ripping. I think Pelosi saw this whole thing as a show. He got, Rush Limbaugh gets a Congressional Medal of Honor, and you get a spot in a school, and you get to have your husband back, and all of this happens, and I'm going to make up lies because a lot of it wasn't real. So she said, you know what? I'm going to show the showman. And with one flick of the wrist, she got the last word and changed the narrative.
But weren't they showing the showman from before this with the impeachment trial, right? This is all that they've been doing, back and forth. Pelosi, do you hate me? We even talked about that on the show. Does Pelosi literally hate Trump? So to say that they would go there and expect anything different, I think we're really being silly to say that we thought this was going to be some partisan conversation.
Yes,
I think you guys nailed it on the head when you just said a show. It literally looked like a circus.
Show.
Like they would highlight certain people.
You get this person, you get a prize.
It really seemed like they went through and found all the things that tug your heartstrings.
Right.
It's like nostalgic things, reuniting people, you know, finding things that we can all get behind, like the Tuskegee Airmen. And I don't know, maybe it did sway people. It came off like using people as pawns, but it works. People wouldn't do things if it didn't work. I feel like strategically, this is the best I think Trump's ever done. So
it's just unfortunate.
See if it works.
It's just unfortunate because the Chiefs are going to the White House, and there are some players on that team who do not agree with this administration. He won't shake the hands with the Speaker of the House, but you want a football player to shake the hands with the president and still go to the White House for celebration. Also, I agree with you with how Nancy Pelosi just turned off a lot of moderates because you're going to need these people able to beat him in this campaign race, in
I
this
hear that.
election.
I do.
Because he's not getting impeached or removed from office today.
I hear
so
that.
it was a bunch of pettiness, if you want my 2 cents.
Way to go. All right, let us know what you guys think. I got a lot of tweets, so I want to know what you guys think. Well, we are finally getting the results from the beginning of election 2020. Started off so smooth, didn't it, Al?
It did.
It did. No, it did not. With a large percentage of the reporting in, Pete Buttigieg, my guy, and Bernie Sanders are in the lead. Elizabeth Warren is in third. And get this, Joe Biden his time in fourth. According to the New York Times, Pete has an 81% chance of winning, but Sanders, I promise, will get a lot of delegates still. But all eyes are on Biden, with many asking, can he recover from a fourth place finish? Now, what people take away, as Lindsay so eloquently said, was it's not so much who wins the caucus as who comes in fourth. Biden coming in fourth was a huge surprise. We now go to New Hampshire, then we go to South Carolina. Is Biden out?
I mean, the question that I have for you guys is he framed himself as the moderate, more electable than all of the other competitors, the candidate who has those things, and he came in fourth. So how?
Because to me, Pete Buttigieg, to me, is the centrist moderate.
But that's what I'm saying. He also framed himself as the person who has the moderate vote, like I said, and then the black vote.
Right.
He also has an issue now with them that he just hasn't addressed.
Exactly.
This is the same thing again with his son. Even if he felt he was in the right, he just didn't address it properly. And here we go again. And it's almost like we're watching repeating history, what happened with Hillary, just handling a campaign so poorly that it just continues to go downhill.
I would take issue with the fact that it's repeating history in that I feel like the candidates look different and act different. I don't know if we're going to have the kind of robotic candidates that are the Mitt Romneys, the guys that kind of show up with everything's to the nines and they shake their hands and they say the right things. I think we are going to see the Petes that say, call me Pete, don't call me, this kind of, and I believe, and I've said this before, Trump started all that. He took away the rules of decorum when you're debating. I'm going to call your wife ugly in the debate. What you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Nothing. What's going to be the fallout? Nothing. And I think the Democrats are behind, but are also, we're going to see their candidates start to do the same thing, kind of leave the rules behind. And I think candidates like Biden now look like dinosaurs.
It's a new game. It's a new game, guys. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you. A school meeting about racism concerns. This is a crazy story. At one Michigan school, they erupted in outrage. So this was a meeting about racism, and a father who emigrated from Mexico in the 80s was interrupted by another father. I want you to take a look at this.
When I went to his bedroom to say goodnight, and he was crying because of the abuse that he was enduring in this school system.
Then why did you stay in Mexico?
You need to leave.
He's sharing a story right now, and that's indicative of what our kids are experiencing.
Wow. Now that immigrant father named Adrian Iriola is responding. Let's take a look at what Adrian had to say in response to that racist comment.
Here's me a question, why didn't I stay in Mexico? Because this is the greatest country in the world.
Yeah. Wow. Brandon, how did you feel?
It's just, some people are so caught up in their privilege that they don't want to listen to the message. That's why you start with the whole, go back to where you came from. And then it came to when he offered him the mic, he didn't want to say anything. Then when he got the microphone, that man who yelled the stupid stuff out, he goes, have you ever walked through a black neighborhood while being white? So then you go to that, saying, oh, I've experienced racism as well. And it's just, this Mexican father owns 3 restaurants in there. So it's just one of those things where it's...
Is it any wonder, Al, that the kids having racist problems and then you see the adults being racist, you think, where does it come from? I wonder, Al.
Yeah, no, it's not that. Brandon, I literally can feel the frustration coming from you. Yeah. And it's because, you're sold this bill of goods when you're a young kid about the American dream, and you can have that, Lindsay. You work hard. Hey, my family is Italian immigrants, Jewish immigrants, African immigrants, and we came here and we built something. But the thing is, even when you're achieving that dream, you're still subject to the same racism, because the thing that's the asterisk underneath that is that dream is not meant for everybody. And that young man, that young kid is experiencing exactly what is coming from those homes. What they go home every night and they are indoctrinated by their parents. They hear what they're saying when they're watching TV. They hear what they're saying when they're on faces, and that's why he felt so comfortable in a room full of people. to say that.
And people don't understand that all those cues aren't verbal. So when you're going to have these biases or racist things that your parents are doing, they're passed on to children naturally.
Yes.
So until you get self-aware that the fact that you don't know everything, we all have implicit biases, then you can't get better.
I agree.
Get better at life. And
you know what I was glad, though,
well.
Lindsay? That they all reacted that way.
Yeah.
Yes, I did like that. I did like that.
Am I
Yeah.
right?
Promising.
All right, I'm going to go work on my neck. You guys are going to stay tuned. DBL, we're live. And coming up, Stephanie Jones catches up with Oscar nominee Margot Robbie. She tells Steph why she had so much fun playing a bad girl in Birds of Prey. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. After last night's State of the Union address, politics might be a hot topic at your office today. But should you keep that type of chatter away from work? Well, your comments coming up next.
This February, ask the one you love to be mine and get away to a Sandals Resorts luxury included Caribbean vacation. Watch Daily Blast Live every day for a word of the day. Then enter at dailyblastlive.com/sandals for your chance to win a 4-day, 3-night romantic escape for two. The winner will be announced on DBL February 26th. What better way to say, be mine?
Grubhub and... Hi, DBL Nation. We were just talking about what we think the word of the day is going to be. If you watch Daily Blast Live, you know every day we try to guess what the word of the day is. They're a little different this time around, though. A little more like love-centric for Valentine's Day. So let us know your guess. Let's go to the desk and see what's going on with our host today. Hi, guys. Hi. Do you want to continue the conversation?
Yeah.
Of what?
Well,
Yeah, especially on this part because this is something that I've kind of experienced growing up in rural Virginia, all of New Kent, Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia, and you've heard these things before. You've heard it coming from the son of the first black head football coach in the University of Virginia history. How they're saying, oh, if your dad doesn't like this or your dad needs to do this, you guys need to get out of town. And you're hearing this, but you're expected. My dad always wanted us to take the high road. That sort of thing. I'm like, no, I'm not taking a high road. I'm ready to fight when it comes to something like this. But you hear this, and when you see your friends, and then you go through it, and they're not as mentally tough as you, and they're getting in trouble because they're wanting to fight, because people are saying these different things, Confederate flag all over school, that sort of stuff. We do a story like this, and then you see that dad just sitting back there in his world of privilege, and then he has the nerve to say at the end, try being white, walking through a black neighborhood. It's called gentrification. It happens every day. So I don't know what this, I don't know why this man felt so emboldened. And another thing that was cool,
through your former neighborhood.
and another really cool thing was that guy's son has come out and condemned what the dad said.
Wow.
Because he has, I guess there's like 9 or 10 of them. Yeah, you're absolutely. And now you put a target on this kid's back.
And now it's everywhere. First off, happy birthday to April. We got to give a big shout out. Big viewer, April P. Happy birthday. Number 2, what I liked though, Brandon.
I thought that was her birthday, number 2. I was like, wow, she's really young.
No, she's not 2. Although she looks it. I don't know. I don't know what she looks like. I got to say very quickly that he felt emboldened, but the space around him that usually is emboldened wasn't. So he thought he could say it. And he quickly found out he was not. That privilege only went so far as his body.
We saw the difference between being in an internet chat room and being in real life.
Yes.
Because if he said that on the chat room, everybody would be like, amen, brother.
Yes.
Like that's what.
At least I have good posture with my back, huh? Okay, welcome back to DBL.
Cool.
Yeah, time for fifth host, and water cooler conversation can include everything from what you watched last night to what your plans are for the weekend. But when it involves politics, it can create an uncomfortable debate. Yet at the same time, wages, unemployment, healthcare, they're all political topics that directly affect you and your coworker. So, DBL Nation, is it okay to discuss politics at work?
Okay, Amy from Facebook says, this is exactly what's wrong with our country. It's the fact that we can't talk about politics at work or anywhere else for that matter. I think we're in a very divisive time, so it's hard to talk about politics without someone thinking that if you supported one thing, you support all things that represent that person. I think people just try to choose the best candidate that support something that they understand. So I think now that we're so divided, if you say anything about politics, it might really create an uncomfortable friction at work. So I would just leave it alone, except for our job. We have to talk about it.
All right, Patricia from Facebook says, why talk about politics? You can't change anyone's opinion, and it just makes people mad. Yeah, it trickles down from the leadership. You know, we just saw yesterday at the beginning and the end of the State of the Union address what our leadership and how Capitol Hill and how politics divide us as people. So I'm with you. Just leave it out. Talk to Tori about cross-stitching or something, or your version of Tori at your work. Just leave it alone and go on about it.
Does everyone have a Tory at their work?
You know, Brandon, I just don't know if that's possible. If because we keep conflating politics, and then it becomes this emotional thing. Like, Liz, you were talking about how do you feel? How'd you feel when you watched that? How'd you feel when she didn't shake it? I don't care how you feel. A lot of people that are working for minimum wage, that are trying to figure out how they're going to take care of their kids, don't care how you feel. So they're like, let's talk about this, but you can't talk about it because it devolves into this emotional conversation about you hate me and you don't know my dad. It's like some people, when we start talking about politics, we are talking about health care. We're talking about pre-existing conditions. We're talking about things that affect people's lives. But it's like, oh, well, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it at work. Don't talk about it at the dinner table. Don't talk about it at church. Well, where the hell are we supposed to talk about it? I don't know. Where is this magical place and time where we're supposed to, is there just a square that says talk about politics here?
Social media.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, around the holidays, we said the same thing. We said don't bring it up at the dinner table.
Yeah, and it's like that's the time where all your family are face to face. So if I have an issue with Lindsay in terms of how you feel politically, I can look in your face and be like, cousin, I love you, but how could you say that about the lunch program? And you say, well, here's what I'm thinking. But I think things that happen over text and over Twitter devolve into what we have now. So. Yeah. And I have no comment because I blabbed in my mouth.
Oh my God. I will say this. I will never stop talking about politics because the less you speak, the more divisive it becomes to me. The more insulated we get, the less we're ever meeting anyone
does
like
that
ourselves.
work in a relationship if you and your partner have an issue?
You're just gonna, if you were working, let's say, a desk job trying to do it in a specific task, you would just walk over like, what do you think about the speech last night?
Well, no, but as a citizen, I would have the right to respond if someone said something. Oh, I love when this person did this. Really? Well, my opinion is this. I would never hold back.
That might get you jammed up at work, though.
It might make me a better citizen then.
Lindsay's got a point. Yeah, if you talk to the wrong person about that, they might feel offended and threatened and go to HR. So.
Well, let us know what you think. Wow. I have to.
Or just watch us. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it for you. Coming up on DBL, Stephanie Jones sits down with Margot Robbie, the star of the upcoming new movie Birds of Prey. Why it's been Margot's thrilling labor of love. Coming up next.
February is Black History Month, and DBL is honoring Black leaders who paved a way for future generations of Americans.
But if their job requires that they stick a shotgun in the midsection of a 17-year-old boy who has his hands over his head and is saying, don't shoot.
Reverend James Lawson, as a civil rights leader and educator, he was instrumental in desegregating downtown Nashville. He continues to train activists in nonviolence and is an advocate for immigration rights.
If this be their kind of job, then it's high time. It's high time that we rid Memphis and this nation of that kind of working.
Guys, thank you for writing in, mamas and papas. Brandy Sprong saying that I need heat and ice. Right now I have BioFreeze, so I guess I'll switch to heat after that. I took free
I think we have a
Advil.
heating pad over at our desks as well.
All right, we're going to try that. So keep writing in. I really appreciate it. But I wanted to read Shirley DeBose Taft says this. If Al, Erica, Brandon, and Lindsay had not spoken up openly about the things that they've had to deal with, we would have never learned some things we take for granted and need to change. Same with politics.
Wow.
And my mom will not stop talking about how you said when you go in a store, you put... Tell me again. You put a piece of clothing?
When I'm shopping, when I'm out at any retail store, I'll and I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I'll just like if whatever garments I'm gonna buy, I put them over my arm and I hold them, kind of walk as I walk. And
so it shows you
just so they know, because like I always get like panic attack. Like if I have a bag from another store and I walk into a store, I'm already like, can I leave this behind the counter so I don't have to?
Isn't that crazy, you guys? That's crazy. That's crazy. My mother was shocked. I know.
They followed her around the store. She's like, are you nuts?
Remember Hermes wouldn't open the door for Oprah?
Oh, that was the Hermes that wouldn't?
Big mistake, honey.
Yes.
So,
well, thank you for listening and
yeah, I
changing your
appreciate it.
paradigm.
I think the craziest thing that Al ever said is half of the table had a gun in their face during the MLK special, because you and I had. So.
Half of the panel.
Accepting whole life insurance through TrueSpeak. Call 1-800-318-7365 now.
Welcome back to DBL. Last week, we took you to the world premiere of Margot Robbie's new movie, Birds of Prey. Not only does Margot star as Harley Quinn, she pitched and produced it herself. But why did this A-list actress fight so hard for an all-female superhero movie? Well, our own Stephanie Jones found out in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Lovely to meet you all. Nice to see you're sporting a cup of tea. And not so nice to meet you because I don't want you to like peel or slice my face off or anything rather vicious.
Promise I won't.
Okay, thanks. I'm intact for now. But Margot, I want to say how honestly impressive it is that you worked and pitched so hard for this story and you produced it yourself. So Harley must have left a real impression on you from the Suicide Squad. What is it that you fell in love with so much about her?
So many things. I mean, the amount of options I've always had as an actor playing Harley, it feels endless, and that's a thrilling thing as an actor.
Is that a hyena in a bathtub?
I named him Bruce after that hunky Wayne guy.
But she's also just incredibly messed up and complicated and funny, and that, I felt in Suicide Squad, we definitely saw a side of her. We saw the version of Harley you get when she knows she's in a relationship with Mr. J and has a perceived protection because of that relationship. And in this film, I thought it'd be interesting to see what does it look like when she doesn't have that.
We have so few female superhero movies, never mind female villain movies, right?
Yeah.
So where do you guys get your inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, totally inspired by the comics. The DC canon's incredible and filled with so many badass, complicated, messed up DC female characters. I feel like there's just a treasure trove there that we should be utilizing.
And Chris, from a guy's perspective, obviously you're surrounded by these amazing women. How's that as a guy?
It was awesome. It was the most smoothly run production I've ever been a part of. The women had no egos. Felt like a family from day one.
And Ella, you killed it, babe. You were amazing.
Thank you so much.
Obviously, this is like a huge deal, and the movie's rated R. So, do you need like a fake ID to go watch your movie?
Well, my parents, they're so supportive, and they're literally renting out like a full-on theater to watch it with.
They are?
Like they're full-on buying out the whole theater. It's crazy.
That's so cool. You were honestly fantastic, and the relationship between you both was so sweet to see. And it was so lovely to see Harley just take you under her wing.
Yeah, she's not a great babysitter, Harley. She doesn't give great life advice or boy advice. Any advice, really. I think she puts you in danger more than she saves you, ultimately, but no, she's completely endeared by Cass, and her conscience is really wrestling the idea of feeling responsible for a kid, which is really going against all her natural instincts.
Oh, well, I thought it was honestly amazing. You guys, it was phenomenal.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I hope there's another one, seriously, because I want to see what you do next.
Well, if you can't get enough of Birds of Prey, we're not done yet. Tomorrow, we're talking to more heroes from the movie, including the great Rosie Perez. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Welcome, Beauty Blasters. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and today I want to give you guys a quick pro tip on how to use eye cream. Now, there's so many eye creams out there, but when you're doing your makeup and you want to make sure that your eye look is staying all day, sometimes it's great to use an eye prep cream. Now, with this guy, this is one of my personal favorites. It's the MAC Fast Response Eye Cream. It's caffeinated and has hyaluronic acid to make sure that we're hydrating the eye, but also taking away any additional puff that might be chilling there. Whether you're working late, whether you're partying, doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, it's gonna take away all your little dirty sins, alrighty? Now, what we're going to do is just simply take a little bit, maybe like a pea-sized amount. Ooh, it's gonna come out. That's all you need there, guys. You don't want to overdo it around the eye because if we put too much product there, it can actually create more texture and more weight from too much weight being on that thin little skin. And all you want to do is actually take your ring finger. We use this guy because it has the least amount of pressure for using against that gentle skin area, and tap right against your eye. Now personally, there's a lot of different massage methods out there, but I like to take it from my inner corner and tap outwards. If you're getting a little risque out there, you can tap upwards right underneath the brow, and any additional can go right around the lips to help prep and keep the lips nice and hydrated and wrinkle free. Okay guys, another quick tip that you can actually use this guy for is removing little mess up wings or eyeliner looks, okay? All you do is take a little bit, maybe like a quarter of a pea size amount on a Q-tip and clean up right against that wing liner for any dots or lines that you might have messed up on. One more thing you can actually do too is use that for lip liner as well for perfected clean lip liner without having to restart and make that line way bigger. So let me know how this tip works for you guys. It's once again MAC Fast Response Eye Cream, and it's magical. Go ahead and write me in at Jeray for the Slay on any social media platforms, or comment right below to see more or talk about everything you've learned today. We'll see you guys next time.
Coronavirus is doing more than just causing concern worldwide. It's also hurting the U.S. oil industry. Let's connect the dots. In an effort to stop the spread of the coronavirus, China has cracked down on travel, instituting a lockdown that affects 56 million people. That means a big drop in demand for gasoline. Airlines have also scaled back flights to the country, leaving a glut of jet fuel and diesel on the global markets. That's all sending prices tumbling, which may be good news for drivers, but bad news for the American oil industry. The New York Times estimates some producers could lose as much as 60% of their profits. The big question now is, will OPEC agree to slow production, which would stabilize prices? And there is hope among some Texas oil producers that China can stop the spread of the coronavirus quickly, returning demand to normal levels.
Today's Sandals word of the day is seashell.
We knew it. Michael Better. Did you know the word of the day? He did. Okay, someone guessed it. All right, welcome back to DBL. We've all heard the term beauty sleep, but what happens when you don't get enough? You look like this. We're chatting about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. So here's what happens to your skin when you don't get adequate sleep. First, you'll wake up with fine lines and discoloration. Less sleep means your body doesn't have time to regenerate damaged cells. Next, you lose that natural glow because your skin's pH and moisture levels get out of whack, causing skin to look dull and aged. And lastly, you develop dark circles under your eyes. We all know about those. So for ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-536-9175. Do you guys notice a difference in your skin when you get enough sleep, Al?
Absolutely. I actually talked to our makeup extraordinaire, Jeray Daniel, about this. Jeray for the Slay on Instagram.
Jeray for the Slay.
And yeah, and he, you know, I was like starting to get circles under my eyes, and he was like, "You're not getting enough sleep, you know, because I do this during the day and I do stand up at night. So some of my day starts at 5 a.m. and ends at 10:30 at night. So he's like, you got to get some sleep. So I've been sneaking in a nap afternoon.
Wow.
This and water, right?
Rough. Yeah.
Lots of water.
A lot of water.
Enough.
You have been looking better. You were looking rough there. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I thought that would come out funnier.
That was good.
Same time, same place tomorrow.